The governor of West Virginia and now senatorial candidate in West Virginia, Jim Justice, has endorsed Donald Trump. And this is starting to give a little bit of an indication of what this race will look like as he attempts to associate clearly with Donald Trump, which is not shocking as someone running for Senate in West Virginia. But of course, he's running against Joe Manchin. So how this will play a role in that race, which could be a huge decider in who ends up having a majority in the U.S. Senate, definitely important and fascinating. And we'll walk through his very strange, rambling endorsement of Trump, where he says a lot of the normal talking points, but doesn't exactly deliver it effectively. And I'll respond to the points that he makes. But first, here from the Hill, Jim Justice endorses Trump. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice endorsed former President Trump for the Republican nomination for president in 2024 on Monday. Justice is a two-term governor and a candidate for the Senate seat currently held by Senator Joe Manchin. Early polling has shown him with a large lead over Manchin in a hypothetical matchup between the two. And this is one of those realities that we deal with in American politics, where Joe Manchin's not someone that I like a lot, and a lot of his policies and a lot of the rhetoric he puts out there bothers me, but he's better than Jim Justice. And so we're hoping that he'll be able to win in this race, even though he is a very conservative Democrat for sure, unfortunately. And then you also have Representative Alex Mooney running in the primary, but it seems Jim Justice is poised to be able to comfortably win a primary for that Senate race on the GOP side. And right now, those hypothetical poll numbers, which could change, are showing him with a pretty good ability to win, which is not good. But then here is, again, his attempt to publicly associate himself as the 2024 race on the presidential side moves forward. His Senate race, he wants people to know that he is behind Donald Trump and not someone else like DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, etc. So here's this from a recent interview.
I don't think it could ever become reality. Surely to goodness, Americans understand, loud and clear the leadership, whether you liked him or didn't like him, that came from President Trump. And
I don't understand when people say that. Whether you like him or not, he was a good leader. No. Part of the reason I don't like him is because he was a bad leader.
The successes that happened, when he was our president versus what we have today. What we have today is just, you know what it is, Dave. For God's sakes, a living.
He will get to more specifics, but so far, what we have today, you know what we have today? And then whatever that turn of phrase was that he used. Right. Do you mean the stunning economic recovery after a devastating economic downturn that was caused by a pandemic that Trump mishandled, and then Biden came into office and saw an economic recovery that was more fast and efficient than other comparable economies, and we're experiencing less inflation now than other comparable economies, and job growth is historic and unemployment's historically low? Or are you talking about the largest investment in infrastructure since the Eisenhower highway program, or the lowering of prescription drug costs? Or what is he talking about with saying everything's horrible today with Biden?
If President Biden were my father, I would not allow him. There was no way that I could allow him to embarrass himself and continue on in this job. There's no way. President Biden is really challenged, and it's sad. And, others are pulling the strings in every way. But anything we touch almost is becoming toxic, whether it be Afghanistan, the border, all the different things, energy, on and on and on, inflation, just one thing right after another.
Okay, so let's go through those. He said Afghanistan. While absolutely there were horrible aspects of that moment, the decision to pull out of Afghanistan, actually following through with that, as Biden did, other presidents didn't, was a correct decision on his part. And definitely it could have gone better. Absolutely. But it also has to be recognized, pulling out of a 20-year war is not necessarily going to be smooth, no matter how it goes. And then he said something about the border. We've gone through the border so extensively. And actually right now he's saying that within the context of a rapid drop in border crossings as of recently. And then he said, let's see, energy, all the talking points about Biden crushing the oil industry or whatever didn't come true. And we're actually on track right now to have record oil production, which isn't, at least if you care about the environment, necessarily the direction we want to be going, but it definitely contradicts the narrative we've heard from the GOP. And Biden has made historic investments in green energy, and there are so many benefits with the Inflation Reduction Act on that front. And inflation, as I said, we're experiencing a more rapid drop in inflation than other comparable economies.
Just one thing right after another, whether it be crime or woke in schools, or, I mean, it is everything we touch turns to do. And then there's people that don't like President Trump's personality. Well, there's people that don't like my personality. But with all that being said, I think that President Trump will be the nominee, and I think he'll be our next president, and I'm very hopeful of that.
Okay, and on those last things, woke in schools, crime, they never address the fact that in the red states that are run by red governments, disproportionately crime is worse. And I don't know what to say about the woke in schools. Give me a specific example of what you're talking about, and then maybe we can have a discussion there. So a rambling endorsement, and not exactly inspiring, riveting, but it is notable. He is identifying his campaign as one that is supportive of Trump's presidential campaign, and we'll see how that race plays out. And it's definitely an important one. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.